Hey everyone, welcome back. I wanted to just, as most of you probably have heard right now, our Senator John McCain has passed. He passed away yesterday from an aggressive form of brain cancer. So, just wanted to take a moment because, he is my senator. I am from Arizona. And just want to take some time thinking about him. I may not have appreciated, he's got such a mixed record, but he was at least a person that we all pretty much knew what he was going to do. If he said he was going to do something, he usually did it. And he did a lot of work for trying to help the vets. He did not approve of torture, considering the fact that, when he was in Vietnam and was captured, he was tortured. So going against the rules of torture from the Bush eras. But, and he's done a lot to try to help the veterans, even though he seems to always go for, political in terms of tax breaks. He seems to follow party lines. So some things I don't really agree with him, but other things, to me, he just seemed like a genuine person. And I think the political world lost a good person. So to his family. So what I wanted to do was I'm not going to do a reading on John McCain. He just passed. He's probably in rest as he's recovering. But I wanted to do probably a reading on his impact upon politics. So this is why I wanted to do this reading and to honor him for whether you agreed with his positions or disagreed with his positions. He really was a man of integrity. So, and I would probably say the last of the old Republican guard, right? So even though he was considered a maverick, he just kind of went whatever way he was feeling. So I wanted to do a reading. Let's do a reading on how his legacy impacts the government. Let's not just say Republicans. His legacy and how it impacts government. Yeah. So let's find out. Because we're going to let him, and our thoughts are with the family in this trying time, losing a father, or for the mother losing her son. So, all right. What is John McCain's legacy on government? Let's find out. Let's see what the cards say. All right, his first card is the Queen of Swords. This is a Queen of Swords that is with thought. Spoke his own personal truths. He's experienced a lot, so he would have a lot to say upon that experience. He was very clear in communicating what he was thinking. And since this also deals with law, and since he was a senator, this would definitely fit his personality in terms of being involved in law, being involved in the leadership roles of conveying thoughts with clarity, making decisions and stuff like that. So he would do things that is right. Now, like I said, you don't have to agree with his policies or politics or some of the decisions he's made, because he's really got a mixed bag of decisions. Some he famously prevented the Republicans from repealing Obamacare, but yet at the same time he went ahead and voted for the massive tax cuts for the rich, and which is going to cause issues. He would always vote to go to war, but he would do everything he could to try to protect the veterans. So he's got a really mixed bag of what he believed, but at least he believed he had he didn't change. He didn't waffle back and forth. He would weigh things out, and he usually would let you know exactly how it was going to go. Whether you agreed with it or not, he'd let you know. So the cross was the hope. So he gave Republicans hope. Those who were in the party who were losing hope, he was that star. He was that hope that, things would be okay. The Republican Party would survive. So he was that hope. He was that star of hope to be able to convey his thoughts and his hopes. So he was definitely the star within a very turbulent and trying times for the Republican Party. So in the past, he worked really hard. I mean, the harvest was rich for him, but you know what? He was never satisfied. I mean, if he wasn't getting what he wanted, I'm moving this over a little bit. If he wasn't getting what he wanted, he would go. So he's not satisfied. It's like he would work towards getting a resolution that was satisfying to him. He didn't really get everything he wanted in terms of the legislation that he was trying to pass. He didn't get the presidency from the 2 times that he's ran, but it never dissuaded him from continuing to work hard. So he's always worked hard. So if he saw some injustices, he would try to fix it, But, and when it comes to money, it just really depended from his perspective of where he was going. But at least his integrity was never really brought into question. His decisions of why he made decisions is very much open to debate. And like I said, it's all perception. So underneath him, the subconscious thing that kind of was beneath him and what he was trying to deal with was this idea that his party was trying to get away with things, because he was not afraid to go against his party. If he felt his party was trying to get away with something that was wrong, especially when it came to veterans affairs, he would step in and he would go against his party, and which is what he did also with healthcare. So it seems to me that his really overarching theme really was for the well-being of the people, but sometimes when it came to his own, when it came to decisions to his donors, to his party, he seemed to be right there in the party line, like with the tax cuts and with monies and the donor stuff. That's where that was. So underlying, he was not afraid to either pick up his swords and go his own way, or he was, all for, taking and following the party line. But, he also, I think he definitely saw the party getting away with things, and that's probably why he spent a lot of time going against it, and he's been doing it for decades. So this is nothing new for him. That's why he was called the Maverick. He goes his own way. So near future is justice. This would be Mueller, right? I think there's reports that John McCain was the one that gave the Steele dossier to Mueller that really started this whole thing. So in the near future, Mueller. So this would tell me that McCain had no reservations once he realized that that any outside interference to his country, he was very a country person, any outside interference to his country would cause him to take alarm. And he did, and he took the dossier to Mueller. And that's where it kind of began, this whole thing. Even though it's been hotly debated, hotly contested, a lot of the information in that dossier has been proven true, but, people there's still stories swirling and misinformation and disinformation. And unfortunately, it's being kind of shown that outside countries like pretty much Russia is still trying to interfere with our elections, which John McCain would absolutely disapprove of. So Mueller is right here in the near future for the thing, and I would think that with McCain, with his importance of country, this is necessary. So above it, he was burdened. So you know, he got this head wound here. He was burdened, but he wasn't giving up because, usually this is the burden to the finish line, right? It's like, it may be hard work, but just keep pushing a little more and get to the finish line. He's wounded. So would probably say with him being diagnosed with this aggressive form of brain cancer, he continued to go as long as he could. He was like, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm going forward. I'm going forward. I'm pushing through. It's all worth it. So he was fighting all the way up to when he could no longer fight. So, all right. The situation is now the offers. Not happy with the offer that's presented. So I would definitely say that he definitely was probably not happy with the offer that, he was presented with the fact that he was ill. He was not happy with the choices that he had, but he was going to not let that stop him. And he was probably not happy with the direction his party was going in, so he was trying to make whatever he could to make it. And it doesn't help that the commander-in-chief, the president, was completely mocking him every which way, completely disrespecting, which literally is, to me, coming from a military family, the disrespect that Trump showed to John McCain is a disrespect towards all military, especially veterans or those who were wounded, who fought for our country, the Gold Star families. And yeah, that's another story. So here we go. So he was not happy with how things were going, but so he did whatever he can. He wasn't happy that he got the news of his brain cancer, but you know what? These are things that just didn't stop him. All right. So here we are with the current environment. The current environment is everybody is trying to stand their grounds, to make their case, defending their positions in his own party. So the one thing I kind of wonder is how much of his legacy in government affects where they are now. And right now, there's a lot of defending their grounds. And I kind of here don't think that McCain would necessarily defend the party as it exists right now. He would definitely stand his ground and defend the party of his party, the grand old party, because I would probably say he was the last of that breed of Republicans. So the standing the ground. So they're very defensive right now. All right. Okay, yes. So the hopes and fears. The hopes is to celebrate his legacy, to celebrate what he has brought to government, his service. This guy has an extremely long history of service. I mean, he was a soldier, then he was in the House of Representatives, then he was a senator. So, and he was obviously a presidential candidate twice. So the hopes would to celebrate his legacy, to celebrate the service that he brought to this country. He was definitely unforgettable, considering that he was considered the Maverick. So celebrate his legacy. That's the hopes. The outcome, the agreements, yes. The love and respect the love that he has for the country. This is the lover's card for, partnerships. And his love for his country would be reflected in with that. So the outcome is that his, what it would show to what we would remember his love for his country. The things that he did for the love of his country, So, and the high priestess. So with the love of the country, hopefully there becomes inner reflection. So understanding and honoring his legacy. Like I said, you don't have to agree with his politics, but the one thing you can agree on is he did not sway. He was definitely country first, party second. Country always came first. So because he wants to be recognized for the love of his country, that that's recognized, that there's some inner reflections in order to help the Republican Party survive this cycle of politics, right? So, and during that, to give the country strength in knowing of what his legacy is to government itself, not just party, because McCain was he'll work across the aisle. He had no qualms about it. There was no us versus them. It was never that. It was always the difference of ideals, which is what it should be. And I think the legacy should be his love for the country and what he did and what he sacrificed for it. Because of that, for the country to reflect upon who we really are. A land of immigrants, a land of ideas. We are a land of ideas. It's not one party versus another. We actually should have more than two parties. There should be lots of parties, but, well, not maybe an overabundance, but we should reflect and allow that reflection of who we are as Americans, as the United States citizens, gives us the strength to carry on. I think when you look at the legacy of John McCain, like Ted Kennedy, you have an unforgettable senator, of a man who cared deeply for his country, and that his legacy will remind us of who we truly are, what we fight for, and the strength that we are. So, I don't know. I do know. But thank you for your service, Senator McCain. And I hope your legacy lives on. Not the war part. Let's take out the war part. You always seem to want to get to war, but the care for the veterans, the care for the common people by trying to protect health care for the average person. You may not have made decisions that everybody agrees with, but you're an unforgettable person. So I hope you enjoy this. Until next time.